Okay, so I have here a brand new 2004 collector's edition of an Athearn John Deere N layout. Has an F59 PI diesel locomotive, 3 Bombardier 85-foot passenger cars, and 1 metal flat car with 2 metal John Deere 7820 tractors. Okay, so the tractor displayed on the side of the last car is the same as the model tractors that are here. This is the second video, and this is a maiden test video. A moment ago, I tried to run or pull the passenger cars in the opposite direction, trying to go up this very steep grade on my layout, and it wasn't capable of doing that. So I just put it in reverse, and indeed it got caught in the frog of this particular turnout. A solution sort of presented itself. One of the couplers on the tail end of the flat car already popped out, so I removed it from the other side. I did remove one of the couplers from one of the passenger cars, but couplers are made just a little bit different, so that was not a great solution. That meant either I could cut the pin or I could bend the couplers up. So I chose to bend the couplers up. So I put the coupler pin back inside the coupler of the passenger car that I took it out of, bent it up, and then I did the same thing for the other 3 cars, or other 2 cars, and also for the locomotive. So that should now allow it to run on my layout, this one right here, which is the HJR Lonsway Pike, as well as a couple other layouts that I have. Most of my N-scale layouts, actually all my layouts, have some pretty steep grades on them. This is perhaps the steepest of all grades, mostly because when I received this particular layout, it had an inside loop and an outside loop. They were not connected. So I didn't redesign everything. What I decided to do was elevate, create some elevation, some different levels in the layout. And as you can see, I pretty much only had a distance of going from here to here in order to get up and go over top of my lower level. So I added that, and that meant that it needed to be pretty steep. You can see that the grade right here is not as steep, nor is the grade over here. It is also not as steep, so it should be able to make this happen in this particular direction. So I'm going to give it a whirl. And again, locomotive and the train set's about 17 years old. It came out in 2004. It's been in the box. It was sealed. I just opened it yesterday, and that was probably about 8 hours ago. And now I am testing it. Sort of promised the person that I purchased it from that I would take some videos, and would probably post them for a short period of time anyway on my sharemyhobby.com website. They might end up staying up there quite some time, but we'll do what we have to do. Okay, so right now it's 25%. It's moving quite well. It's the first time the passenger cars have been around on the layout itself. Again, I have some concern here. We could possibly get a derailment. We'll walk this one down. See how it does here. So far, so good. That's great. Now, this is a DC only locomotive. It does not have DCC. I did not check to see if it's a DCC ready locomotive or not. And I just saw some debris on my track, which might have been from where I was cleaning it with the sponge. The locomotive may have picked it up. It did not. So let's see here. Let me clean that up a little bit. If I can. Got it there. Right now, that's very good. I can hear it struggling just a little bit, pulling those guys up. Now, remember, the tail end of that is pretty heavy. It might be a better idea if I move the flat car right behind the locomotive, because that's a metal flat car, and I think it weighs more than the larger passenger cars. Now, I'm a little leery of trying to increase the speed, simply because it does look like it's lifting up a little bit right here. Use a little more speed there, but I'm just going to let it run. Too much more speed might be a little bit too much for this curve. So let's see what we get. Shaking quite a bit. Alright, getting it done. I'll see if I can trust it. That's about 30% of the throttle. You can That's very nice. Although I have the turnouts wired underneath the layout, I haven't connected them to any type of push button controller, so I'm having to move the turnouts manually by hand, even though the tortoise control switches are already wired. So perhaps before the New Year's gets here, I will get an opportunity to get underneath there and finish wiring that up. That's a beautiful looking set. Look at some of the steel photos to look at the detail on these train cars. Absolutely incredible. Alright, when I looked earlier, my phone had about 21% charge on it, and this is the second video, and I've taken probably about 40 or 50 steel shots. So it works well. And it seems to be doing a fine job on the HJR Lonsway Pike. That's it.